Interesting.
I know I'm going live.
Going live.
So you go live on your individual phones too?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
You go live
Get a little
when
filter in there. And it's giving me starry nights.
you go live when you want to get the attention of your social media
Okay, I'll wait.
right away.
I'll wait until we're actually doing things.
We're already 30 seconds in, 40 on, give it 20 seconds and start a minute later.
Do we have any friends yet?
Me, I don't have no friends yet, but they're coming.
Still waiting for them.
They better come because I'm going live. I'm going hard tonight.
4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's bad.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Trip Digital Radio, sound, art, and expression. Your man DJ Journey. We have Kat and we have Jason Lee in the building. What's up, guys? How are you?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Hey,
yes.
Journey.
Hello. What a good night because we finally have this guest on the show. And I'm going to introduce her because she does a lot, but it's all in the same vein and it has that silver lining thing that we all talk about. Let's give it up for podcast producer, singer, songwriter, and SAG and ATRA actress, Lauren DeGrasso. Lograsso.
Oh, yeah! Got the D and the L.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lawrence.
You know, I have a friend, DeGrasso and Lograsso. And I asked you that right before we started. And I just
I
messed
do
it
that all the
up.
time, Journey.
Yeah.
I one time
So I'm normal
yeah.
then.
You're so normal.
Okay, all
One
right.
time I grilled
just
someone
wanted
on
to
their
go.
last name, and then when they came on the show, I just said their first name because I was just so nervous about it. So I think it's very normal to do that.
Okay, it's good. But you
I
can't
release
take
you from
away
your
from those
guilt.
accolades though. Those are real.
Those are real.
Wow.
They happened. They're happening.
So let's wheel it back because we always start at the origin. So where are you from? Like what's the background?
Well, the background is I was born and raised in the suburbs of Detroit,
The D.
and I went to Michigan State University and then voyaged out to LA to do an internship to complete my final 3 credits for my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater and my BA in Communication.
Wow. So you do what you do, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
studied it.
I always wanted
Nice.
to be some sort of performer
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
ever since I was 3.
That's what's up.
So you started theater at 3.
Yes.
That's what you're telling us. Wow. Hopping around, jumping around, and
Like a little
doing
baby
everything.
kangaroo.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All
Wow.
right. We're going to have to see that later.
Well, that's amazing. So what shaped your surroundings? I mean, to have this, do you come from a background of actors, singers, or whatever, or were you the first of many?
Well, my grandfather was not technically an actor, but he was one of the most amazing entertainers I ever met in my life. His name was Lorenzo Rubato. And when he entered a room, everybody knew. He lit it up. He was this most incredible storyteller.
Yeah.
And I think when I trace the lines of my lineage, my creative lineage, it leads to my grandfather and then my grandmother, who also approached life in an incredibly creative way. Not so much for performance, but she was always creating clothes and making recipes from scratch. And when she was 16 years old, created her own beauty shop.
Oh,
that was
wow.
a thing that women weren't doing back then. So I come from a long line of big personalities and strong human
Creativity.
beings that somehow kind of like trickled into me. And I took that into my humanity and became a performer.
Got you. And that's so interesting that you know where it all came from. So it wasn't just blindsided, like, wow, I love great things and
It's just in
people
our
that are doing
genes.
things. Yeah.
All the creativity.
I did feel like when I was little that I was kind of a freak because everybody else in my family, not my grandparents, but my cousins, they were not very emotional people, I was always made fun of because I had feelings. And so
yes.
So what'd you crying for?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a lot of that kind of thing. So I didn't realize when I was little that sensitivity was actually my strength. But as I've gotten older and, we'll get to it, but I now have a podcast that's all about creativity. I've really thought about where do those seeds of creativity come from and how do they grow?
Wow, that's an interesting outlook on things, because most people, they just go on through life and like, this is me, but it's really from the roots of where you came from, and you actually watched that as you grew up. So it's amazing.
Very
amazing.
mindful. Very
Thank
mindful.
you.
Oh yeah.
What you got in?
Lauren Lograsso. Am I
Yeah.
saying it right?
Pretty much. I mean, you're on
Yes.
track.
Oh,
If you really
yes.
wanted to say it the Italian way, it'd be like lo grasso, but
Lograsso.
we don't need to do that. We can. It could be
Oh.
fun. We could end on that.
Yeah.
So let's all
I
try it.
absolutely love your name. And you know what? This is what I got to say. I got a question right here for you, but I got actually a question before this question.
Oh, precursor.
Okay. What people don't realize about me is I'm a master artist.
Hey.
So I
realized that.
Thank you. But I create artwork of the most beautiful women in the world. That's what I do. And you know what? You are absolutely beautiful. And
Thank you.
Let's be real with this. I know beauty, so I just wanted to know about your beauty. I want people to understand about where you come from, your heritage, your background, all of that. Because what I know about this is there's so many beautiful women around the world. You
There
know what I'm
are.
saying? But it's about who's really got it on the highest powered level of talent.
Wow.
Am I an amazing artist? Am I an amazing host? Am I the best of the best at what I do? That's something that I want to know about you. I want the world to see that.
So is the question what my ethnic background is, or what makes me beautiful as a human being?
You know what? Both of those. Your
Okay.
physical beauty, your hair,
Okay.
your glamour.
Oh,
your
well, my hair
lifestyle,
came
what
from
you
my
represent.
hairstylist. I
Explain it
bought
all.
it from
Oh,
her.
yeah.
They're extensions.
Definitely.
My ethnic background though is I'm 100% Italian, 75% Sicilian, so don't mess with me. 25% Northern. And
Yeah.
I, like I said, I grew up in Detroit, so I'm definitely very much influenced by like Motown and all of the entrepreneurial spirits that came from that place. I mean, the car was invented in Michigan, which I always feel like it makes me feel empowered that I was born in the same place that so many other great creators were born. And then what makes me beautiful as a person, I think what I feel most beautiful about is when I'm able to see somebody else truly, to see their unique abilities and to bring that out in them and to help them become the best version of themselves. And when you do that, I think it always reflects unique beauty in you as well.
Definitely. I love that right there.
Thank you,
here's
Master
the next
Artist.
question. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're absolutely beautiful, and I think the world should see that, and then they're gonna learn more about your superpowers and your talents. I
Thank
know
you.
you're multi-talented. From all of this right here, you got a gigantic paragraph full of your background right here.
Yeah.
And I'm tripping out and all that expertise that you got.
I really want to know before we
Yeah.
jump into your background. Journey really asked that core question of where you came from, what shaped you,
Yeah.
and you really answered that full on, full core. And
Yeah.
we all have multiple backgrounds, and that is essentially what shapes us, and then we begin to shape ourselves. So as you've been shaping yourself very consciously, what have you really been able to attain through your journey so far?
So what lessons have I learned through my
Absolutely.
journey?
Lessons, anything you want to tell to the audience, as we kind of really bring to shrinking you in with all your multi-talents.
Well, I think don't limit yourself. We were just talking to your beautiful, wonderful intern earlier today, and she's saying, I want to do so many things, but I should just focus on one, right? And yeah, I do think you should get highly skilled at a few things. I think that's great, but don't ever say oh, I'm just this, and then go in your shell and feel ashamed that you have these other interests. I did that for a long time. I was ashamed to say that when I was working at the Ellen Show, when I was interning there, that I wanted to be an actor. I was ashamed to say that I wanted to sing. But you never know who could help you and who wants to help you.
So at the bottom line, where does that influence essentially come from? Is it
the influence of wanting to do many things?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a create.
I don't know. I feel like I was born with that.
Get it, girl. Get it, girl.
Or
Right up
it's
there,
just a
born with it.
Midwest thing.
It could be.
you
Or
know?
You know, I do
thing.
think a Midwest thing because I think in the
is.
Midwest, you have to work
You
a
have to
little
do a
bit
lot.
harder for what you want. Like if you're going to have to walk through 2 miles of snow that's up to your kneecaps, you have to want it that much more.
Yeah,
So I do think that there is that Midwestern work ethic.
absolutely. And that's that
Yeah.
migration from everything Southern, because it like the Midwest didn't start north. It started south and then it migrated. So it's an ethic there.
Right.
It's a 40-hour a week or nothing ethic to actually make a living.
Mhm.
And I can vouch to that because I'm Russian.
Yes.
And we know
Yeah.
the work ethics and Southern. So I
Lauren,
completely
can you-
understand.
What's
that,
that called?
Lauren.
Can you talk to us about your media coaching consulting?
Sure.
All of that stuff right there.
So I
Fill us
started,
in.
what was that?
Fill us in on
Fill
that
us
stuff,
in. Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
So as you know, maybe the listeners and viewers don't know, but I produce a bunch of podcasts. So I produce the Goop podcast, Girl Boss Radio. I produce From the Heart Conversations with Yoga Girl Daily, Maria Shriver's podcast,
Mhm.
Lauren Conrad's podcast. I used to work at SiriusXM as a personality and a producer, and I produce my own podcast called Unleash Your Inner Creative. So I started having all these conversations with people. They were super curious about the industry. And I just found myself naturally coaching them in the wild. So I thought, why not monetize this and make a business out of it? And that's a great tip for anybody who's watching or listening.
Yeah.
If there's something that you're naturally doing in your normal life, find a way to make it a part of your career. Or, if not, just like focus on it and make it a passion as your hobby, because the things that you naturally do are things that you can easily make a source of income.
I love where you came in with that line, like, it's naturally what you do in the wild.
Yeah.
That sounded so inspiring too. So can you kind of touch base a little bit about, like, what is that wilderness within us that like creates and inspires? Like, what has...
I think it's like whatever your natural inclination is.
Mhm.
My inclination when I meet somebody is to always kind of like break down, okay, like what's the thesis statement of their life and how can I help? Because a lot of times people are just confused. And once you clarify what's really going on with them, you can give them tools to start living a more complete existence. The reason I wanted to start the creativity podcast is because I realized repressed creativity is the cause of so much of the world's suffering.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And so if we can just help people stop pushing down these unlived lives inside of them and start pulling them out one by one, I think the world would be a much happier place.
Definitely.
With
Yeah.
your
I agree.
upbringing, when Journey was asking with your upbringing and being in the Midwest, and you obviously were born around a lot of creatives.
Mhm.
Was there any like pushback towards that from your personal life? And is that an encouragement in your personal like motivational inspiration towards other creatives, from just upbringings of life? And it's not a easy career to pursue.
No, it's definitely treachery and pain, but it's worth it. I definitely had some pushback. I was very blessed that my mom was always incredibly supportive, always was a believer,
Yes.
almost to the point where I thought, you can't be serious. Like you like me too much. I don't buy it. But my dad was always more skeptical and always prove it to me, But once I did get my first professional acting gig, I got that when I was a sophomore in college, was in a Shakespeare play. That's when he finally started getting on board. But he's always kind of put in my ear, you have to have a backup plan. You have to have a backup plan. I did have some outright, I would say, not foes, but there are people in my family who outright would say to me, you shouldn't pursue that. You're not going to be able to make money doing that. Why are you going that way? But I remember saying to him, I'm going to do it. So you might as well support me.
Last question for me on that
Yeah.
end. Would you say it's a generational thing?
I think so. And I think too, my dad was first generation Italian. So his dad literally came over on Ellis Island. And I think when you've got that sort of, there's a lot of fear there. I mean, God, the guy was 15. I actually was just looking at the report today. My grandfather was 15 when he came to America. He didn't speak a word of English. He ended up selling like rotten fruit for years and then finally got a job at Ford where it was safe. So that the idea of security meant like his family could eat and he was going to be okay.
Mhm.
So it would make sense that generationally that got passed down more in my dad than my mom, who was second generation, you know?
Mhm.
So I do
Okay.
think it is a generational thing. Like there is the thought that security meant success. Whereas now, and I had that in my head a lot too,
Right,
which is
right,
why I
right,
made
right.
mistakes when I first came out here.
Same.
But now I'm realizing, oh, success isn't security. Success is freedom.
Mhm.
So it's making that switch and then figuring out how to gear your life toward what you find
We
value
love
in.
that. We love that. Can we get a round of applause for that?
Yeah.
Just
Somebody
right
write
there.
somebody
Round
write
of
that.
applause,
Success
round
is
of
freedom.
snaps, like
That's hard.
everything. Thank you, Lauren.
So
Thank
to
you,
all
Lauren.
our
Thank
friends
you.
out there chasing the
That was
dollar,
hard.
stop it
Yes.
and let the dollar chase you. Success is freedom.
Man.
Boom.
Need a
You know what?
t-shirt.
Quote unquote.
I wanted to know about this on your media coaching consulting. I wondered because I believe in that on a high powered level. Because I see myself as a consultant coach for all the younger artists that I mentor, and then I'm also learning from other coaches that are above me. I've been doing it for 50 years, and just still going strong as in the consulting.
Did you say
world.
50?
50 years?
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, like guys like I swear I follow like Les Brown. He's like a media
Les Brown,
consulting
yeah.
coach. He is amazing.
Oh, Les
That
Brown.
man. I was like, man, that guy is speaking to people as if it's like the last conversation he'll ever have in his life. And I think, oh, that's hard right there, like, and I wish to be on his level, and I'm striving. So, like, who are your influences on your coaching?
So
now?
I actually have a coach, and I think that all good coaches should have a coach. I have a wonderful coach named Valerie Geller, and she wrote an amazing book called Beyond Powerful Radio. As soon as I started listening to her with my media career, it started taking off. So I would say if you're looking to become a coach, get a coach. Eventually, someday you'll become a coach.
That's hard. Yeah.
As the
For me.
wisest of the wise say, always a teacher and always a student.
Yeah, it's
Or
true.
once a teacher, always a student. Teachers are always students.
I think it's important to keep learning because this is not a Lauren original, but I heard someone say if you're not learning and you're not growing, you're dying. So stay curious. And the other thing is everyone I meet on Girl Boss Radio who's a successful entrepreneur who's built multi-million, sometimes billion-dollar companies, they're people who stay curious and humble and want to keep learning.
Yeah.
So I think that you can't underestimate the power of curiosity.
Okay, George.
That's where the money's at.
I didn't get that. That was good.
Curiosity,
Dad
that's where
jokes
the
all
money's
day
at.
long.
That's what's up. So, what current projects are you working on?
So all those shows I mentioned, my own podcast, Unleash Your Inner
Yeah.
Creative, and
Mhm.
then my baby is coming out this fall.
Baby.
It is my single, Road to Glory.
Wait, so you're a musician?
I'm a musician.
You're a podcaster. You're
Yeah.
a musician.
Yeah.
You're an actress. You just don't stop.
Well, yeah, I didn't for a long time. I'm trying now to find a little bit of balance because I do think that you can't really be a great creator if you don't ever take time to rest. And I reached a breaking point when I launched my podcast where I felt like I was going to die.
Mhm.
And
Well,
not so literally, but like do you ever feel like crusty inside?
Absolutely.
You know, like you've just pushed it too far and your
Yeah.
insides start crumbling. That's how I felt emotionally and a little bit physically. So I do think you need to make a little space. So I'm working on that now.
So when that happens, I mean, because we deal in a lot of sectors of like mental health and all that stuff like that. When that happened, what do you do? What did you do?
Well, I definitely sought out my therapist.
Okay.
I recommend therapy
Talk to someone.
talk to someone.
Yeah.
Double down on whatever your mental health regimen is. We were talking about meditation before
Yeah.
the show started. That is so important to me. I say it's like a foundation for the day. And if you can do it in the morning and the night, that's great because it like seals the day in, you know, because the world's going to come at you. But if you have that foundation, at least you can stay steady.
Right.
So double down on that. I pray all day long,
Mhm.
just in constant communication with God and my grandparents who've passed on.
Yeah.
And I reach out to friends a lot. For a long part of my life, I was too afraid to ask for help, whether it was with career or personal.
Yeah.
And now I know that nothing can happen alone. and we need to rely on each other. Now, you don't want to be like an energy vampire and just suck everyone's energy. Yeah. But if it's a mutually beneficial relationship and you would be there for that person and they're there for you, then you got to ask for help.
Balance.
I love that.
Mhm.
Let's
I
grow.
love that. I love that.
Let's go.
And just for our friends in Hollywood, I mean, if we can all like set up a mutual beneficial relationships, if we can start that, because people don't know what you know, and you know that mutual relationships and that energy and synergy that you create between each other and people, especially the people that you work with, because we just try to establish a working relationship, which doesn't exist, because if you go out drinking, you'll end up telling them a story about your life and so on and so forth. But I think that way of setting up these portals of relationships where everyone
Journey,
is
what's wrong with
circular,
going out drinking and telling
these-
people stories, your
Man.
life stories?
because it comes out weird though. It's like we should
Not
be able to do
always.
that all the time,
Absolutely,
Like, hey,
true.
This is me. This is my
But
life.
if you're
This is what
telling
makes
people,
me, and this is how I
strangers,
show up.
your life story, and they don't remember you that day, they remember the story. That's powerful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
and that's
Whether
that's,
it's coffee, drink, or a wine.
and that's and that's the real identification, because I
That's
mean,
crazy.
reading your story, and it makes who you are, and it makes how you show up and everything like that. But that's the honesty that I think a relationship deserves, and no one feels alone, because we're all going through the same thing. There's someone that went through what you went through. And if we don't show up and tell them, they'll never know. And they'll try to
Was
reach back
Ellen
instead of reach
ever
out.
part of
but-
that influence of kind of giving you that like woman power?
Well,
and,
I didn't know
just
her
really
personally.
kind of- or just
Yeah.
being around that environment, just that like boom, boom. It's like very straight to the point.
I would say not Ellen, but more so Maria Shriver.
Okay.
Working with her
Yeah,
was
Maria.
huge. And she definitely, she's strong and she's fair. And she really, I mean, she's just like wonderful to work with, a dream to work
Amazing.
with. Working with Lauren Conrad, with Sophia Amoruso, like all these strong, powerful women who are also lovely as human beings and so generous of spirit. That really has affected me, and realizing what's possible. I sit with these women, and I think I've accomplished maybe like 15% of what I want to do, but a lot of them have accomplished probably closer over at least the 50% line. So I sit with them and I'm like, I try to suck up some of their molecules for myself and see if I can maybe manifest some of what they're doing in their lives, in my life, because it makes me realize if I'm in that proximity with that person, that means that maybe we belong in the same room, and maybe I can achieve something like what they're achieving.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
that's
your 15%
amazing
is
right
probably
there.
more like 50, because you're obviously an overachiever.
Yeah, maybe more like 20. I don't know. I was thinking about it earlier.
Percentages don't matter here
Hey,
right now.
Lord.
And if you're in a
Lord,
room with
yeah.
those people, it's like some kid is going to be saying the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wish I was her.
Right.
Dude,
It's like
she is like
Everybody, everything
Superwoman.
in cycles.
Yeah,
Everything in
it's
cycles.
true.
Your time is coming.
Oh yeah.
Your time is now. Let's give it up.
Hey,
you're here.
Come
I
on.
know.
She's super.
You know what's interesting though, because I really do believe in manifestation.
Really?
Just about a year ago, I was like, God, I would just love to be on Dash Radio. I think it would be so cool to be on Dash Radio. I just started thinking it and saying it out loud. And then it happened, So there's such a power to literally just speaking what you want into existence.
That's what I said too. Exactly about right here.
Yes.
Yeah, but the
Do you
Dash
ever-
Radio right
You
here.
ever start like texting people like one keyword?
No, tell me about this.
Oh my God, it's the craziest
One
thing in the world. So
keyword.
I like text people one keyword with like all my manifestations. And it's a relevant keyword to like jobs I want to manifest, places, people, my lives. So I'll text in a relevant keyword and I say, manifest, well, let's just say it's John.
Hey, John.
And John
What
is
up, John?
like not even a person, but John means something.
Oh, okay.
In my
Where's
subconscious.
Do you tell them
So
what you're
I
trying to
literally
do?
text my like 10 people. I say, just manifest the keyword John with me, but don't personalize John.
Mm.
And then we'll chant that, or I'll give them a mantra or something, or they'll do it their own way.
That's really cool. I've never done that.
And it
Ah,
works.
we
should-
Yeah,
we
because
should
it's
text
our
each other.
manifestation.
Yeah, let's get this one going right now.
Definitely.
We got a group text anyway.
I know.
Let's get on that manifestation
Oh,
station.
man.
$20.
You know, Lauren,
That's
I got
that's
a pretty,
different
really,
keyword.
really crazy deep question right here for you.
Oh,
That was really deep.
Take me there.
Actually, this is a two-part one right here. So, what do you hope to accomplish this year? And then the follow-up on that is, what are you willing to risk your life for in this world?
Ooh. Okay. What I hope to accomplish this year, I'd really love to put out that single.
Ooh.
Part of me is scared that it's never going to happen because I've literally been working on it for 4 years. I mean, everything's coming together. I did my photo shoot yesterday. I'm going to have the music video shoot at the end of the month. But it still feels elusive because it's never happened yet. And it's been, like I said, a 4-year process. It's been incredibly painful. I needed to go through all of that because I wasn't ready. When I first started working on the album, I wasn't good enough yet. And it would have been a waste of money and of time and of effort, and I would have been disappointed in the result. So I know that everything happened the way it did because I was supposed to become a better singer, a better songwriter, and a stronger person, so that when I walk into those rooms and I'm presenting myself, it can be in an authentic way, and it can be in a way where I'm not going to take somebody else's. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, am I?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed. So I won't take someone else's shit that I might have when I was first working on this when I was in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm most hoping to do more than anything else creatively this year.
Mm-hmm.
On a spiritual level, I'd like to at least have one moment of peace every day, you know, to create an environment in my brain, in my life where I can attain that. And what am I willing to die for? I'm willing to die for what's right. That's the first thing that came to my head. And I guess that could mean a lot of different things. I would die for somebody else that was in a vulnerable position that I felt like needed to live more than I did. Or maybe, you know, my best friend Annie, I would die for her. I don't think I would die for I think that's too far for me, actually. I wouldn't die for my career, but I would come damn close to it. But I wouldn't die for it.
Yeah.
Well, now we see the passion that runs within. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
And
that.
where can we follow you? Where can we get to know more about all the things that we do? That you do. Then we do.
And then we could all do them
follow
together.
us on Trip Digital Radio,
Yes, we
Dash
must
Radio.
follow
You can
you.
follow
Where can we
Lauren
follow
on your Instagram is
It's at Lauren Lograsso. And you
spell
can
that out
follow
for us.
LaurenLograsso. And then you can follow Unleash Your Inner Creative, which is my podcast at Unleash Your Inner Creative. A new episode drops every Tuesday at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tonight, after the interview, you can listen to the newest episode. And
Already.
also look out for my album. It's going to be, the singles dropping. It's going to either be late September, early October. First song is Road to Glory. And it's about the long, gritty, painful road to become the person and the artist you want to be. And I think that's what we're all on right now.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
Road to Glory. I love that
that.
title. It's
I'm just in a
beautiful.
long dream. My life is one long dream.
Well, that's
Journey's
very
always
on
dreaming,
brand.
journey dreaming,
Keeping
journey
that dream.
dreaming.
That dream
I've
is
never woken up.
It's a reality.
I'm going to have
It's a reality.
Journey take us out on this one with our final and amazing question.
Okay, we have a
Yes.
final question that we
Yes.
usually ask everyone that comes to this door because we feel a certain way about everyone. And we all are kindred spirits, as they say in this world. And we find a silver lining of what makes that person a person. But we call it here superpower. What is yours?
So I think my superpower is something I mentioned earlier, but the ability to look at a person and see their inherent goodness, to see their essence, to extract that and reflect it back to them.
Mm.
So you're an empath.
Yeah. I'm still learning how to protect the energy, though. What is that?
Labradorite.
What is it?
Labradorite.
Okay, that's
I'll
a
get you
crystal.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, empaths need crystals to protect. I'm
Always.
really struggling. I try to do the energy bubble. So anyway, it's not protecting my energy. That's not my superpower.
No, it's just using that and knowing how to use it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely. You
And
go, girl.
I think it also that I never stop trying. I'll always, if you punch me down, I'll get back up.
That's that Italian.
Sorry.
She
Take a
punches
day.
pretty
She's
hard.
like-
She's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
You wait till next
Superpowers.
one.
Well, there you have it. I mean, thanks for
Woo!
coming on the show and thanks for just sharing your story with us because I mean,
So inspiring.
It's not every day. And we're in the moment of the woman right now. There's a lot of uprising of strong women. And I definitely think that you're one of them. So keep striving because there's a lot of young ladies that's in Michigan and Chicago, Midwest, St. Louis that are looking at you like, girl, go, because we want your poster on our wall because we can relate to those streets where you came from. So keep doing it.
I love that.
Keep
Thank you,
doing it.
Journey. That means so
Yeah.
much to me.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely. So let's give it up for Lauren.
Come on, Lauren. You know what, Lauren? I wanted to say
Take us out.
thank you so much for everything. Your whole breakdown and your thought process is amazing. You are a superwoman, right? You are a superpowered woman. My superpower is, and it's great to meet you, and I'm honored. My superpower is that I'm a master artist. I'm the greatest artist of all time. So that's my superpower.
That's a good one.
Definitely.
I love that.
And you know what? It's an honor to meet you, and I'm glad to tell the world about your craft and what you do, and we got to build and grow together on the highest level.
All right. Let's get up there. I love
Definitely,
it.
yeah.
Trip Digital Radio, sound, art, and expression for the artists and by the artists. We'll be back.
Mm-hmm.